here so you can see me. I'm a bit taller than Penny. So we've found out what's in the bag of bananas. I've had 2 bananas today. I don't know about you, but not as musical as those ones. So next we have Harriet coming back on to talk about using song to promote language and communication. So I will hand over to Harriet.
Hello, hello. I just am in shock there. Fantastic. Okay, so really to answer that question of, how do we use song to promote language and communication, today is your answer. You've seen absolutely fantastic examples of how to do that. And all I'm going to add to that really is I'm going to share with you a collection of songs that I have composed. Now you will actually get these, so this is a bit of an enticer for you. Remember to complete that survey, because once you get that survey in, you will get a fantastic resource which will include the sheet music and some ideas of how to use this in your setting. And on there, I've also included a QR code. And if you scan that QR code with your phone, it will take you to a YouTube link where you can listen to that recording as well. And you can play that in your groups, or you could use that just as a means to teach yourself these songs as well. Entirely up to you. So to introduce the songs, there are 6 songs here. We may not get through them all in this next half hour, but you do get them all in the pack once you've completed that survey. And they were written they were composed for Walsall Healthcare NHS Trust and for their speech and language department, for use with their language groups. Now, in my mind, when I was writing them and writing the resources for those sessions, the language group was for 2 to 3-year-olds. But actually, in fact, we've seen today how flexible songs can be and activities can be, and you could use these with, a whole range of different ages. So don't let that put you off at all. Now, I really considered carefully how to go about creating these songs, and I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was suitable and accessible for the intended target audience. And some of the things that you'll see as we go along, and we go through a few of them, is the use, by no means this is not limited to this, but I've got use of lots of repeated lyrics, lots of repeated musical melodies, motifs and phrases as well. And, all to help kind of reinforce vocabulary and also to reinforce those rhythms, the natural rhythm of those words as well, and the rhythm of the music too. And like I say, with the sheet music, you do get some suggestions as well as what things you could do. So these were suggestions that were, and like I say, there's masses that you could do. This is just a kind of little taster. And on there, we've got things like some talking points for the songs. We've got some topic words that might link in to them, and also suggestions of other songs linked to that topic, or even stories and books linked to them as well. And with the theme of today, very much so, you'll be able to use these and see how these tie in really nicely with the different aspects of the EYFS curriculum. Obviously, especially the communicating language, the PSCD, and the physical development. So all of the compositions that I'm going to introduce you to use 5 notes, a very special set of 5 notes. Those of you familiar to the Kadai method will know of these. So the Kadai method is a particular model of music education, if you like, and absolutely great resource, great model. If you're not aware of it, I encourage you to go out and explore it, because there's some really great nuggets that you can take from that. And what we see from those 5 notes, it's the 5 notes that build up the pentatonic scale. And the reason why those 5 notes are so important is going back to what I said earlier about music being universal and music appearing in all cultures and all societies. In fact, it's those 5 notes of the pentatonic scale that appear in all of, all cultures, all societies. There's a really lovely clip on YouTube it was Howard Goodall did a whole series on music. And if you search in YouTube for Howard Goodall pentatonic, you'll find about a 5-minute clip of him talking about these 5 notes and giving beautiful examples of music from all over the world that use and are formed around these 5 notes. And that was very much the idea of the Kadaya method, is that it focused and brought awareness to music from the folk tradition, traditional music from people's cultures, and building on that. Those are the songs that we would hear in the home. Those are what, the nursery rhymes are based around, and it develops that idea. And the notes, those particular 5 notes, the first 2 notes of that is probably one of the first kind of sounds that we hear and use as babies. And we've heard it today. I've definitely heard earlier, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. We've got, if you think of a fire engine, nino, nino, nino. So that's that so mi interval. And you'll see how that is featured in these songs. So that's our first interval from those 5 notes, is our nino or cooey. To that, we can then add another note, or 1 note higher. And again, this is something really familiar, really natural for children, and that's that playground kind of taunt. Nya, 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 nya. Again, that is a really natural pitch for children to use, and something that comes quite naturally to them. You don't really need to teach them that; they acquire that very quickly. And it's again something that I featured, and something, if you look into pentatonic songs or Kadaya songs, you'll hear that motif all the time. And then to join those up, we then have the falling, if you like, the 3 blind mice. I often refer to the 3 blind mice. And so we have that falling set of 3 notes. So put all those together and we get a pattern of different motifs. We've got da, da, da. We can turn that around. Ba, ba, ba. We've got our nino, 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 nino. And then we can add in our playground, na, 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 all using those 5 notes. And with those 5 notes, we've got hundreds and hundreds of songs that we can use, including the ones I'm going to share with you today. Like I say, these are all on their way, so you will get these, but I'm going to go through a couple of them now, and just to give you some ideas and ways of how you can utilize them. And I want you to think about them in terms of that pyramid that we were thinking about earlier, or our tree that we had. Because sometimes I think we can get into bad habits and we sing songs for the sake of singing songs, because somebody's told, well, in early years we sing songs. And actually, there's much more, as we've seen today, involved in that process and what's going on there. The first one then, what should we start with today? I'm going to go with one all about we're going to the zoo. We're going to the zoo, and this is a noisy song and it explores different animals. So within there we've got some symbolic noises, and if you remember before, those symbolic noises are really great for our early talkers. Those who haven't yet got onto single words yet, they can still be involved and participate in this song. And I must say, with all of these songs, it could very well be the case that the singing is going to be led by you, but there's lots of repetition. There's opportunities for them to, come in with repeated words, or come in with those symbolic noises. So in this one, again, we can see we're going to have those short phrases made up of those motifs that I've just spoken about. Lots of opportunities of repeated vocabulary for them to join in on, and some noises as well. And it goes like this. We're going to the zoo, 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 we're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. So that's our first section. So again, I've used that repeated line, because then if you do it, then they could join in, that call and response idea. So I've kind of embedded that naturally into the song. And then we think about, what are we going to see at the zoo? What kind of animals will we see at the zoo? Zoo, zoo. Okay, so let's, in fact, ladies in the room, will you join me on that first section? Fantastic. Ready, steady, off we go. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. What kind of animals will we see at the zoo, zoo, zoo? Now the song continues there, but actually you could break that up. You could use that point, a stop point there, and talk about the animals. You can bring that in. So we're giving opportunity for that discussion to take place. You might have props, you might have a bag of animals that you could reveal an animal that would indicate what's going to happen next. So you can really have fun with it. And I would say very much, take these songs, as with any song really, and make it your own. Play around with it, split it up, do it in two halves. For some children, that might be enough. They might not be ready for the rest of the song. And you could just do loads just with that opening couple of lines. But for those of you who are ready, the next little section goes like this. So we're going to use that na, 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 na. We're going to use that motif. Remember, that's one that they will be familiar with, that their ears will kind of tune into quite readily. We're going to go with a monkey first of all. So we're going to go, I can see a monkey. And then at that point, we've got opportunity to put that symbolic noise in. So then we can do actions. We've got that noise going. Woo, 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 woo. We can have real great fun there with that. And then we can do another one. So I can see an elephant. I can see a tiger. Rah, rah. I can see a snake. So again, we're just having lots of fun with that. And it's a really nice way, like I say, bringing those symbolic noises in, but also that's beginning to get their ears and get their lips and teeth and around and tongue around some of the sounds as well that they're going to need for their speech. And then the song finishes with lots of animals for us to see at the zoo. Zoo, zoo. So again, just kind of bringing it back to kind of where we started with those repeated notes and those repeated words. So that's one of them. That's one of the ideas. And I say on the topic kind of words for that, we've got the animals. That's a really obvious one there. But when you're thinking about topic words and keywords, obviously our topic here would be animals, or it might be, going on trips. So you could do this with the farm as well. We're going to the farm. Farm. You could see a cow and so on. The possibilities are really endless. You could do, we're going to the sea, and you could do underwater creatures. But when you're thinking about topic words and kind of linking topic words into what you're doing, yes, use some of the things that you get from the song. Great starting point. But then also try and include some verbs. Verbs are really important because they help us with understanding. Okay, so yes, we can have object, lots of vocabulary for objects, but that's only going to ever get a child so far. So yes, so they can name all the things in the picture book, but that's no good unless they've got verbs to use with them. So think about that. What kind of verbs could we have in relation to this song? And then you could do a little bit on, well, at the zoo and we see the elephant. What's the elephant doing? The elephant's eating. So there we've got that verb, and we're bringing that verb into the discussion, into the play as well. And like I say, play, make it interactive, do those actions. And when you have children, if they're stomping like an elephant, don't be afraid to use the verbs so that they can hear them. They've got an association of that action with the vocabulary that's needed, because that's how their language is going to develop. I'm going to go into another one. So that was one that uses symbolic noises. There's another one using symbolic noises as well called traffic jam. I think that one might be my favorite, but we'll see about that in a little while. I've got another one called Let's Get Ready for the Day. And so you might have already realised what topic this would be for. So this would fit really nicely into a topic on like daily routines, for example. And it's an action song. So again, great one for comprehension, great one for that receptive language, because we're using lots and lots of verbs in here for them to do those actions too, and would be a really nice kind of starting point to then lead into some work, you know, on information carrying words. So, you know, you could have Teddy and Dolly, and you could have a brush, and we could do something like brush Teddy's hair, and they've got to be understanding those key words to be able to make those choices and know where to go with them. So our let's get ready for the day, lots of actions involved in here, and again we can break this down. There's 3 parts to this particular song, but it might be that you just introduce a little bit in each session. You know, you might in fact just do the first bit for a number of sessions before you then introduce that other one. And we have brush your teeth, comb your hair, let's get ready for the day. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, let's get ready for the day. So again, that repetition to reinforce the vocabulary that's being used, and also that repetition helps with that rhythm as well. And all that kind of rhythm work is really useful for auditory discrimination and kind of processing that's needed to develop language. So for this one we have brush your teeth, comb your hair, let's get ready for the day. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, let's get ready for the day. So again, for that first section, it's just using that 3 blind mice, that 3 notes from our pentatonic. That's all I'm using there. That might be enough. Our next section, we have clean clothes for you to wear. And then depending on the weather outside, we could have something warm, it's cold outside, or something cool, it's hot outside. So again, you've got those options to be able to make those changes. And we use that, you know, we can use that repetition. So we have clean clothes for you to wear. Something warm, it's cold out there. And that's using, again, those notes at the higher end of our pentatonic this time. Then we go back to our original tune, but we've got different words, different actions here. So now we're getting dressed. Remember, our topic is daily routine. So this is helping to kind of make associations with that and expectations of what goes on. So we've got pull it over, pull it on, zip it up, off we go, to the same melody that we had before. So pull it over, pull it on, zip it up, off we go. Pull it over, pull it on, zip it up, off we go. And again, that might just be enough. But if we want to carry on and finish our morning routine, we can go on to the next little bit. So we have almost ready for the day. One last thing before we play. And again, it might be that you interject with those bits and let them get ready for the next little bit. And after we've brushed our hair, combed our teeth, we put on our clothes. Before we go out to play, what must we do in the morning? We must eat. Very important. So that's our last little bit. So time for breakfast, have a drink. Now we're ready for the day. Time for breakfast, have a drink. Now we're ready for the day. And again, it's bringing back that same melody that we had before. So we have time for breakfast, have a drink. Now we're ready for the day. Time for breakfast, have a drink. Now we're ready for the day. So there we go, really nice little routine song there. And again, there's so much that you can do with it. Obviously, we want lots of actions involved in that one. It's reinforcing this idea of routine as well. But we can also, you know, have discussions of, well, what are we eating for breakfast? What clothes are we wearing today? And as soon as you start moving on to those things, particularly clothes is a really nice one to introduce some other concepts. So with clothes, we can talk about, well, what colour t-shirts are we wearing today? What colour dress we're wearing? So we're thinking about, colour concepts there. So we can use our songs and, use them as a launch pad to kind of bring in these other things. We saw a really nice example of that with Penny, actually. She brought in those big and little concepts. Again, really nicely done through song, through music. Let's have a little look at another one. So apples and bananas. Probably got an idea of where this is going. So this would fit really nicely with a topic, a food and drink topic. And again, great kind of discussion points. We can talk about fruit, we can talk about describing the fruit, colours, the taste. There's lots of things that we can go in terms of topic words. Yes, we've got lots and lots and lots of fruits, but we can make those links with eating, drinking. It also works really nicely as part of daily routine in terms of, when might we eat these, breakfast time, lunchtime, snack times. So lots and lots of discussion points there. Now this one, again, where this is going, I've already said, we're using those familiar intervals again with these songs, lots of repetition. And also this is a really nice one to kind of build vocabulary as well. And again, change the words. There are hundreds and hundreds of fruit that we could put in here and slide into this song. So we've got apples and bananas, oranges and pears, mango and papaya, apricots and plum. And again, we could talk about, where do we find some of these fruits? For some people, they'll have never heard of a papaya or a mango, but for other children, they will, that's part of, their regular diets, and it's not so unusual or exotic. And then we have our next section of the song, tasty fruit for me to eat, healthy, juicy, what a treat. And then we bring back our original idea again. Apples and bananas, oranges and pears, mango and papaya, apricots and plum. Again, you could do that if you've got picture cards with fruits on, or in fact, you could do it with any food, couldn't you? Or you've got toy objects of those fruit. You could have, you could even incorporate it into a multi-sensory session where they're actually getting to taste some of these fruits as well. And make this the kind of the song that facilitates that setting. It would be really lovely. The other thing that's really nice here, and you'll see in the resource pack when you finish that survey, at the back you'll see I've also included just a couple of ideas. Now, many of you will be familiar with this because they're things that either you've produced yourself or you may have received from speech and language therapy departments as well. But just a couple of sheets that kind of help think about ways to promote communication. So we've got one that looks at vocabulary boost and how we can, use motivating words, action words, describing words to introduce new words, and also one on promoting communication. And there's a really important one on here. We've talked about modeling, we do lots of that anyway as adults, but there's a really important one that we use a lot, and that's about giving choices. And the apple and banana song is a really nice way to do about that. Now, what we mean when we say, give choices to children, that's a really good way, to get them using their words a little more. And sometimes that can really throw parents when they hear that. I'm like, what? No, I can't offer them a choice. That would be outrageous. They'll ask for something ridiculous, and they kind of miss what we're getting at. And what it's about saying, do you want some milk? What's the response? Yes or no. And that's, that's not helping them develop their expressive language at all. Whereas if you say, do you want milk or do you want water? So you've given them a choice, then that response, they can't just say yes or no. They can't just nod or shake their head. They've then got to think about, well, how are they going to say they want milk or water? So, so they're going to be using their words, or they might be using their signs and gestures to make those choices and improve communication with you, rather than just simple kind of pointing or nods or yes and no's. And this is a really nice one to do that with. You know, you could have your flashcards there, or maybe if you're doing tasting, you could say, right, what are we going to have first? Shall we have apple or shall we have banana? And if I do use objects, I often will show them, but then I'll hide them so as to avoid them kind of relying on pointing, in order to encourage them to give me that sign or spoken word for that choice. So again, another way that we can use songs to, you know, really have fun and explore language. And that's very much been a theme with throughout the day. We've seen that in all of the workshops that we've had. Really great ways to do that. You know, don't just sing songs for the sake of singing songs. You know, really, you know, they have a place, they have a purpose, and, you know, you can use them as launch pads to develop and promote language and communication. Right, I think we're going to do another one. So, what should we have? Ladies, are there any that have caught your eye that you'd quite like to go through? Touch your nose. So this is another action song, and this action song is one that explores body parts. So there are loads of songs we can do. Not happy, you know it, head, shoulders, knees and toes. You know, there are oodles and noodles that we could use out there. And this one, you know, very similar. What we've done is I've mixed in the different parts of the body, but also with different actions. So we've got touch your nose, touch your ears, pat your knees, clap your hands. So there I've got straight away 3 different actions: touching, tapping and clapping. You know, essentially they're all the same thing, aren't they? But we're using different vocabulary for them, and there are little subtle nuances between those three action words. So we have touch your nose, touch your ears, pat your knees, clap your hands. It repeats because we want that repetition in there. Touch your nose, touch your ears, pat your knees, clap your hands. Then we go in with wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You can't see my toes wiggling, but they are. Stretch your arms and tap your elbows. So that always gets people in a bit of a twist when they try and do that. But stretch your arms and tap your elbows, or tap your elbows, it doesn't matter. And we have for that section, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, stretch your arms and tap your elbows. Then you know where it's going. Touch your nose, touch your ears, pat your knees, clap your hands. Touch your nose, touch your ears, pat your knees, clap your hands. And again, use it as a launch pad. You know, we've hardly covered any of the body parts there. You could, you know, what else can we do? Well, that we've got, you know, we've got our shins, we've got our thighs, we've got our bottoms, our tummies. We can have lots of fun with the different parts of the body. And again, really nice one to, you know, think about introducing body parts to them. They're really important. You know, sometimes we shy away from teaching body parts, and we shouldn't. We really, really shouldn't. This is important that children know their parts of the body, and they can use the words to describe them and know kind of where things are. And again, thinking about kind of topic words for this, obviously you've got a vast vocab in terms of actual parts of the body, but what else? You know, with that you could bring in things like, well, what do we use our eyes for? What do we use our ears for? And then you're bringing in those other verbs as well, aren't you? What else have we got with this one? Oh, yes. So, yeah, lots to do with the senses. You know, what do we use to see? You could play I spy with my little eye. We could do I hear with my little ear, and you could have a bag of instruments in, and you give one a little rustle or a jingle, and what can you hear, and see if they can, you know, perhaps they might have their own set there, and they need to find the instrument that they can hear you secretly playing. So again, lots of ways to bring that in. Now, I know that we're going to move on to our questions and answers shortly. So I won't do any more. I'll save the other ones for you to be able to. Oh, one more. I'm having in the room. We've had a request for one more. Right. So, ladies, shall we do sunshine in the morning or traffic jam? Sunshine in the morning. Sunshine in the morning. Okay. So, sunshine in the morning, hot, hot, hot. Sunshine in the morning, hot, hot, hot. And it goes like this: sunshine in the morning, hot, hot, hot. Sunshine in the morning, hot, hot, hot. Here come the clouds to hide the sun. Here come the clouds to hide the sun. Rain in the afternoon, drip, drip, drip. Rain in the afternoon, drip, drip, drip. So there's verse 1. There is another verse. I won't do that for now. I'll let you discover that in your own time. But again, it's using those melodic motifs that are innate, that are very familiar for children. They're going to pick those melodic ideas up very quickly. Lots of repetition. You know, for those who haven't got that expressive language yet, you've got those repeated words at the end of those phrases that we can get hot, hot, hot in, or drip, drip, drip. Again, we can include actions and gestures into there as well. And we've got, you know, some of those opportunities to think about pitches rising and pitches falling. So we had drip, 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 and whereas then the first bit we had hot, hot, hot. So you've got those opposites as well. In the second verse, we've got, you know, whooshing of wind and brrr of snow, the fog coming to hide the snow. And again, it gives you that discussion point of, you know, what's the weather like today? So this is a really nice song if you're doing a topic on outdoors or on weather or nature. This was a really nice kind of way into that. So there we go. Oh, and with it, it's a really great one to have percussion instruments with and be able to do kind of soundscapes, and let's make a rainstorm, and you can have thunderclaps and lightning and showers. So you can have so much fun with these. So there we go. Like I say, they're all there for you to use. Please do use them and have fun with them. And yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Harriet. That was wonderful. That's amazing. Thank you. And just to reiterate, there is going to be a pack that will come to you post-evaluation survey with everybody's workshop handouts. So you will get that post today. And I suppose what we just want to do now is, we've noticed that there aren't any particular questions in the chat, but is there anybody there that would like to unmute and ask any questions? I'll just give it a second. I don't know, Ruth, whether Ruth can see anybody. Don't worry if there isn't. I mean, like I said, it has been a long day, and we really appreciate that you've stuck with us. I think pretty much everybody has been with us throughout the whole day, which is absolutely superb. I think sometimes Zoom can almost be more exhausting than actually being in the room with people. So thank you for that. If there's nobody that wants to ask any questions, I just want to thank, and I'm going to invite them back so we can just see them. I'd like to thank Harriet for your wonderful presentation earlier on, Harriet. I'd like to invite Di for her fantastic workshop earlier. Thank you, Di. I'd like to invite Penny. And again, we know what's in that bag of bananas, and we'd like to invite Angela onto stage. I would also, I think it's very, very important today, I'd like to invite Murray onto the stage. Murray has had the pain of dealing with our technology today, so we applaud you, Murray. Thank you very much. We have also, in the background there, we have Lucy. Thank you, Lucy, for your wonderful workshop. For managing all the chat functions, and we have had people on social media. We've also had Tim, who's the back of the room, helping us with all that. But this wouldn't have been possible today had we not had the support from the Arts Council. So we were given a certain amount of funding to run a project around the Gladstone Museum, and you will also be very, very fortunate, as you will be the first practitioners to have sight of our Soundpots at Gladstone resource. So watch this space, because this will come out to you guys before anybody else, hopefully next week. But only if you fill in your evaluation.
Can I just jump in at that point? Can I say a huge thank you to Kat, because Kat project manages Soundpots for us and has presented the conference and organised the conference for us today. So a huge thank you to you as well, Kat.
Thank you. And it has been an absolute joy to have you all here. We would have loved to have you actually physically with us in the room. However, we will do that next year on the 6th of October. You can book in now if you want to, slightly prematurely, but it's going to be the 6th of October. In between that time, there are loads of early years network meetings, which you'll have seen the dates for in between on breaks. It's also in your pack, so look out for those. And I suppose it really goes just to finish off and say, thank you, ladies. Well done. And thank you for joining us today. Cheerio.